On today's episode of Continue Cooking, we'll be making Musaengchae, a Korean radish side dish, and Gamja Jorim, a Korean potato side dish.
Here are the ingredients for our Musaengchae, which is a Korean spicy radish salad, which is frequently served with bossam, which we are also making. If you'd like to learn how to make bossam, you can look at the other recipe on a video on this channel. We're gonna start with mu, which is a Korean radish here. This is 1 pound or 500 grams of the mu. We have 2 or 3 green onions to your taste. I have 3 here. We will be grating about half a teaspoon of fresh ginger. We will be mincing a couple of cloves of garlic, adding just a little bit of sugar. This is fish sauce. It's myeolchi. It's a kind of Korean fish sauce. You can use regular fish sauce if you like. This is gochugaru, which is what is going to make it spicy. It is Korean red pepper flakes. We have just some salt here, and we will be adding some sesame seeds at the end. Here are our ingredients for the Musaengchae. So the first thing we are going to do with our mu here, we're gonna have to start cutting pieces off so we can make planks. And you can see I'm making these planks about a 1/4 inch thick or so. The kids still love planking, right?
Are you gonna plank for us?
I'm planking for you right now. We need to get this into matchsticks that are maybe like a 1/4 inch thick or so. They need to be small enough to be wrapped up and to kind of easily eat with chopsticks. Each of our little pieces looks like this. You can do them smaller if you want. You could probably go to 1/8 of an inch. I'm just gonna make it a little bit thicker. We're gonna add a teaspoon of salt now to this. We're gonna just sprinkle this in here, and we're gonna keep picking up and moving it into the mu, or the radish. It's like when we make cucumber salads. The purpose of the salt here is to make it salty, but it's also to draw out some of the excess water. And when you make a cucumber salad, you know, one of the main problems is if you add the dressing, which is effectively what we're gonna be doing, it will become watered down over time. So we wanna get excess water out right at the start. We are going to let this sit, maybe 20, 30 minutes. Here is our mu that we have been letting sit for maybe 20, 30 minutes or so. And as you can see, there is now a large amount of water that is in the bottom of our bowl. And this is what we wanted. You can also see that the mu, which was nice and rigid earlier, has become flaccid. And we like flaccid mu because it's easier to eat. We are going to drain out this water in the bottom before we add the rest of the ingredients. Basically just like aggressively squeeze out the water. Okay, so here is our radish now. So I am going to be adding 2 tablespoons of gochugaru, which is very nice and red. That's the red color you see in a lot of Korean cuisine, guys. It's going to be the gochugaru. A tablespoon of our myeolchi here. This is a fish sauce. You can use any fish sauce. Add just a teaspoon of sugar. We have a couple of cloves of garlic, which I'm going to mince. So we're using raw garlic, which is why we don't need a lot of garlic in our radish salad. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice up, thinly slice 3 of these green onions. So into our bowl go our garlic and green onions. I'm going to microplane about half a teaspoon of ginger. Our Musaengchae now with all of our ingredients in it. So what I'm going to do is just toss this by hand, get the fish sauce in there, get everything evenly incorporated. Some people may use gloves, but I am not weak. So now it looks like Musaengchae. I'm going to add some sesame seeds to this now. That's some good Musaengchae. Here are our ingredients for our Gamja Jorim, which is a side dish or banchan in Korean food that is going to be braised potatoes. We have 3 potatoes here that I peeled. You probably want about 1.5 pounds or maybe 600, 700 grams of potatoes. It's about 3 regular sized potatoes. Peeled 1 carrot here to add to this. We have half an onion. Optionally, You can add a couple of gochu. You can seed them if you like to make them less spicy. Gochu are Korean chili peppers. If you don't have Korean chili peppers, you can use a green bell pepper. You could use jalapenos, and you can control the spice level by just choosing to seed them. We have a little bit of sugar that we are going to be adding. We have 3/4 cup of water. For our braising liquid, we are going to make it out of soy sauce. This is Korean soy sauce. It's called Banchan, but any soy sauce will work. We have matsul, which is a cooking Korean rice wine. You can use Japanese mirin instead, if you prefer. You could also technically use a combination of vodka and honey or sugar, if you don't have that. This is oligodang. This is corn syrup. Now, why we're using both sugar and corn syrup is that the corn syrup is going to add sweetness, but it's also going to serve as a thickening agent. It's going to make the sauce a little bit more viscous. You can substitute this if you don't have corn syrup or oligodang. You could use honey. You could also just use more sugar and reduce the sauce more to thicken it up. And then we'll finish it off with some sesame oil and some sesame seeds. We're just going to put all of our liquids in a bowl here. So we're going to add 3 tablespoons of our soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of our rice wine, which is matsul or mirin, 1 tablespoon of our corn syrup or oligodang or honey. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of sugar. So I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of water here. I'm gonna add just a little bit of black pepper to this as well. I'm going to mince 3 cloves of garlic to add to this as well. A little bit of that minced garlic. I'm going to heat this up. Okay, we're going to take some olive oil. I mean, you can use any oil for this, but we're not going to cook this at high temperature, so I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil here. We're going to cut these potatoes into approximately 1-inch chunks, which we're going to start by stir frying a little bit. So we turn this on to medium heat, guys. We don't really need it super hot. And we're gonna cook these potatoes for 5 or 6 minutes probably. And the reason why we're doing this is we're gonna soften up these pieces of potato before we start braising, because we want all of our ingredients to basically, have the same mouthfeel. And we're gonna add the onions and the carrots later on because they cook a little bit faster. So we're just gonna pre-cook this a little bit. All right, as these, you can see it's getting cooked a little bit on that side. So we're gonna wanna flip these guys around, kind of get them evenly cooking as best we can. Here we go. While we're waiting for that, we're gonna do some more cutting of things. So I'm going to employ what is called a rangiri cut, which is a Japanese cutting technique. And what you do is you cut at a 45-degree angle, and then you rotate 1/4 turn. And what we are going to get is these cuts that look like this. So this maximizes the surface area of the carrot, which is great for braising large vegetables. And we're gonna try and cut them all approximately the same size. Even though the carrot gets a little bit thicker here, we don't actually have to cut right where the cut is being made. We can cut a little bit more shallow. That one's off at the end. So now we end up with some cool carrot shapes. Also just fun. I'm not gonna slice my onion like this because I want it in kind of big chunks. So I'm actually just gonna cut it into 1/3 this way and then in half this way. So we have nice big onion chunks. In the meantime, our Gamja Jorim, what's gonna happen is we are going to pour our braising liquid in here. Make sure we get all the sugar and corn syrup out of the bottom, because it will melt in the heat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding the vegetables in phases.
Can you make this one less spicy?
No.
Ah!
The other one wasn't spicy.
It
Susan.
was.
Okay. And we are going to add our carrots. We will not add the onions until later on, because these are going to be the things that take the longest to cook through. So we're going to bring this to a boil. We'll try and get these in as much of the liquid as we can. We will have to kind of stir this to make sure that all the sides of everything are covered. Okay, I'm going to reduce the heat to medium now. This is going really nicely. So I'm going to cover this with a lid This is obviously not the lid to this pan. There is no lid to this pan that I have, this non-stick pan, but you know what? It works. Okay, that's our timer for 5 minutes. And now comes the time of adding onions. Looks like these potatoes are pretty good. That is good. Carrots are good. Just poke them with a fork. So I'm gonna turn off the heat now. And the other thing is, as this cools, it is going to thicken up further. I'm going to add a teaspoon of sesame oil for a little bit of flavor, and about half a teaspoon of sesame seeds. That looks good.
Potato, please.
I really like these potatoes better than the ones you made the other day.
I cooked these for a little bit longer, so
Yeah.
they're a little softer.
Nice and soft.
Coming apart a little bit on the outside, a little starchiness to them. It thickened up the sauce more too, because you have more of the potato starch
This
in the
is
sauce. You like this one better?
this is